Hello again. In this final video of our cut and paste collage series, we're going to look at how to save our images. In Pixlr, there are two basic file types that you'll need to use. One is PXD and one is JPG. So if you go to File, Save, there are three options for file types. One is JPEG, one is PNG, and one is PXD. We won't need to use PNG, but JPEG and PXD are really important, and you'll need to know when to use each one of those. So firstly, you'll want to give your file a title. If you're taking my class, you'll want to name it your first name, last name, and then the name of the project. So in this case, collage. Now, PXD is used for images that you're still working on, that you might come back to and want to change. Basically, what PXD does is it saves all your layers. So you can see the image here underneath, and it has 3 layers. If I save it as a PXD, next time I open the image file, it will have those same 3 layers. Now, if I choose to save it as a JPEG, it will take all those layers and compress them into one layer. And you won't be able to go in and adjust the image in its individual layers. The layers will no longer exist. It will just be one layer, and it'll be all the pieces of the image just as you see it here in this little box here. So let's save it as a PXD first. You can see that there's no other options there. It's just the title and the file type. So PXD, and we'll download, in this case, Pixlr is a web application. So when you save it, it will download it to your device. So download, and it's saving the file. There we go. And you can see that this file is really large. It's 33 megabytes, which is pretty large for an image file. And we'll close that. And let's see, that should be saved there. Yes, okay. Now let's look at what happens when we save it as a JPEG. So save again, file, save, JPEG. And in this case, you have another option, which is the quality. And 100% is the highest quality. And notice it tells you the size. This is the size of your file. So in this case, the file would be 6 megabytes. If I reduce the quality, let's bump it down to 60%. You can see that it's not even 1 megabyte, it's 616 kilobytes. So at least, I would say, put it at least 80% for a JPEG, which is medium. Personally, I would set it to high. If you're saving it on a phone or a device that has limited space, you might want to set it low so that you're not taking up a lot of space with these files. And in that case, I would suggest around 80%. Okay, I'll set this one to 90, or we'll just bump it up to 100. The image width, just leave as is, and click on download. Oh, let's put the name in again. First name, last name, and project name. Okay, download. And it is complete. And now those are saved on our device. So if we close this file, and let's close this one as well. Now, Pixlr will save images that you've used, but only in the same session. So if you close it and leave and come back, these won't be here anymore. So make sure to save them manually. Go to File, Save, and save it to your device. And when you go to Open Image, you can find that image, and there's John Smith Collage PXD, and there's the JPEG. So let's check out the PXD first, and you can see it loads it in, and it looks just the way that we left it. So it's got the 3 layers, the ball, the hamster, and Times Square. Now let's open the JPEG, File, Open Image, and we'll open the JPEG. And we'll open it in Ultra HD, apply. And here's the JPEG image. Visually, it looks exactly the same. So here's the PXD one if I click here, and here's the JPEG. And if you just look at the image, it looks exactly the same. However, if you go here to your layer window in the JPEG file, you can see that there's no layers. There's just the one layer, and all the images, the hamster, the ball, and the Times Square image, have all been compressed into one layer. That's called flattening the image, and it just means that all the layers have been smushed down into one layer, and you can no longer work with them separately. So if you now wanted this ball separate, you'd have to go back in with your lasso tool and clip it out again. And then the information of Times Square will not be there behind it. That will just be empty information. So when you're done with an image and you want to show it off, JPEG is great. It's a much smaller file. As you can see, I could get it easily down below a megabyte, where the PXD file is 36 megabytes, a really big file. You wouldn't want to share that. And a lot of online platforms won't even take the PXD. For example, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc., email. No one's going to be able to view it. So you really want to save the JPEG file to share, and the PXD file is just for you to keep as you're working on your image. And if you want to save it for later and possibly continue to work on it later, or add things or take things away at a later date. So those are the 2 file saving options that you have: JPEG, PXD. PXD is very large and saves everything, including your layers. JPEG is much smaller and is available to share on pretty much any platform that is designed to share images. And you're now ready to create amazing collages and share them with the world. So your imagination is your only limit. I'm excited to see what you create.